welcome to the Rumor Mill. This is our largest section for the show, so I'm going to try and keep it as brief as possible. First, we have the update on that Constantine rumor that I talked about in the last episode. That Constantine rumor is a rumor. It is not news. The rumor does come from actor Peter Stormare, who played Satan in the Keanu Reeves movie. He's the one that's saying a sequel is going to be happening. It's kind of based on information we got from Comic-Con at home, but that's all he's saying, is that there is a sequel in the works. So I'm going to say likelihood does not stay at 50-50 for this. It's got to drop at least 20%. We're looking at about a 30% likelihood that this becomes reality. Next is a Black Panther 2 refutation. This is only our second refutation since starting the confirmations refutation section. This refutation comes from Victoria Alonso, who is a producer on the movie. She is saying that there is not going to be a digital double for Chadwick Boseman. She's saying that they're trying to figure out how they're going to move forward, but she does know that that is not the direction they will be taking. So there you go. Now let's talk about new rumors. We have a new rumor around Batwoman, and not the CW version of Batwoman. This is going to be a movie version of the character, so probably in one of the two going movie universes, either the Snyderverse or the Reeves-Abrams verse, I guess. And it's very possibly also going to be headed to HBO Max, because everything is. So that's the likelihood that we're going to be getting a Batwoman movie. At this point, it is so speculative, and it's from some really unsecure sources. So we're going to say about 30% likelihood we're going to be seeing a Batwoman movie. If that does happen, though, rumor based on a rumor, it going to HBO Max, that seems very likely, because Batwoman is not super high profile in the normie world. So we'll probably put that at about 60% likelihood, assuming the first rumor is true. So next we're talking about Johnny Depp. This is not a rumor that has anything to do with his current case proceedings, the court proceedings, whatever. It is a rumor about his future career. There is a new rumor that he is in talks with Netflix about future projects. And I did see some speculation putting him and Ava Green as Gomez and Morticia Addams in the potential Tim Burton adaptation of the Addams Family, which would be freaking awesome. I don't think that's freaking likely, though. That's not even part of the rumor. That's just somebody probably wishful thinking. So the rumor that Johnny Depp is talking to Netflix, I don't know. This one seems like there's a fair amount on both sides. I feel like Johnny Depp's clout, again, assuming you're ignoring his current court cases, Johnny Depp's clout is so much that Netflix probably couldn't necessarily afford him for a series of projects. So maybe one or two, yes, but a series would imply like 3 to 4 plus, right? So being as that's the vocabulary that was used, I'm going to put that lower than 50%. We're going to say about 40% likelihood that that's the case. Though a single to 2 movies, somewhere in that neighborhood, slightly more likely if that's the case than 60% likelihood. That's what we've got on that one. Next, let's move over to Titans. This current season, there is a rumor that we're going to be seeing the Joker, and that this Joker is going to be a different version of the Joker than any of the previous versions we've got previously. Previous versions previously. That's redundant. Any of the previous versions of this character that we've seen in live action. And also, there's an addendum to this rumor that's saying that this version of the Joker is also going to be the one that, quote-unquote, kills Jason Todd to some degree in the next season of Titans. So, kind of have two rumors here, right? One is that Joker's going to be showing up, and two is that they're going to stick that closely to the death in the family story, in that we get a death of Jason Todd. So Joker showing up, I feel like, is pretty likely at this point, just because they're trying to keep the profile for the show pretty high, but not the greatest source to be getting this information from. So we're going to put that at about 50-50. Now, is this going to be the way that we get Red Hood Jason Todd? Is it going to be something that happens at the end of the season that, brings Jason Todd, I don't know, in contact with the Joker? I don't think that's likely. I think there's going to maybe be some sort of homage paid to the original source, but I don't think it's going to be the Joker that causes it, because that's probably, I mean, it is pretty intense show, but that might be a little too intense. So that part we're going to say is probably about 30% likely. Next, we're talking about Resident Evil. So we've got some video game rumors to talk about. We have 2 Resident Evil rumors. First is Battle Royale game is reportedly in the works. And the second one is there is reportedly a VR Resident Evil 4 adaptation in the works. Now, these both come from reported hacks of Capcom. So that should mean they are solid information, though there's no way of verifying if the hack is legit. I mean, yes, there was a report that Capcom got hacked, but none of the information has been made public as to what was taken. Capcom hasn't said, well, they got all of our future release information. We don't know that. So I am going to put this at more likely than not. I'm going to say it's about 65% likely that on both of these rumors. Both of these rumors are about 65% likely that they will happen. If we get some other confirmation, if we get some other source besides this reported hack, then that will probably bring it up. But as it stands right now, we're looking at about 65. Next, we're talking about Matt Reeves' Batman. Matt Reeves has suggested reportedly to Warner Brothers that he wants to kill Alfred in the new movie. Not in the new movie, rather, but in the subsequent trilogy that is likely to happen. So he wants to kill off Schmeagol? No. So this seems possible. Now, my reasoning behind the percentage I'm going to give this is we already know that this is not main universe canon as far as the movies are concerned. Matt Reeves' Batman is a different thing. So that plays in this favor. And also, the fact that this just happened in the comic books kind of plays in the favor too. I don't know that it was super well received in the comic books, so that kind of plays against it. But I still feel like Matt Reeves is trying to take as many risks as he can, and that seems like a big one. So likelihood that this is going to be a thing if we do get subsequent movies in the Matt Reeves universe, 70% likely that is a thing that he wants to do. Whether or not it actually happens is probably a different situation, but we're just addressing the rumor. Thank you very much. So next we're talking about Star Wars. We have another Bo-Katan Kryze rumor. Bo-Katan Kryze is now reportedly not getting a series, but a movie all her own. And if this happens, there's an addendum rumor to it that says we're going to be sending it directly to Disney Plus, because again, everybody's going directly to streaming these days. I would be more inclined to believe the series version of this and not the movie version of this. So I'm going to say that this is a slightly better source. So we will put this at about 50-50 considering the source, because the source is pretty solid. They come through in the past pretty regularly. So I don't think that a movie is going to be the way they go with Bo-Katan, because she's spinning from the animated series and now she's in The Mandalorian. It only makes sense that they would at least give her own mini-series before they went into full-flown feature film. As far as going straight to Disney Plus, yeah, probably. 70%. If she gets her own series or movie, 70% likelihood that will go directly to Disney Plus. Nightmare on Elm Street is our next one. So we have 3 rumors here. First, we have that there is a new movie in the works, a la David Gordon Green's Halloween. So it will be a sequel to the probably a sequel to the second movie, because that one's still pretty well remembered by fans. They will ignore everything from the third movie on. And it will be an old Freddy, because apparently when you die, you still age. Makes sense. The reason I say that is because the second rumor attached to this is that they want Robert Englund to return as Freddy. And then the third rumor attached to this is not necessarily as direct as the first two, but it says that Johnny Depp wants to have a cameo in the new movie. So, first rumor, that they're doing a reboot, quasi sort of legacy sequel thing. That seems likely. With the rights reverting back to the Wes Craven estate, that kind of makes sense that they would want to capitalize on the popularity of Craven properties. And being as Nightmare on Elm Street is probably the second or first, depending on what generation you're from, most popular property that Wes Craven created, yeah, it makes sense that they would want to continue that line. Now, so we're going to put that one at about 70% likelihood. The likelihood that they want Robert Englund to return, we're going to break this into two percentages. That they want Robert Englund to return, 90% likely that that's the case, because they have said, or because, Robert Englund was Freddy forever until Jackie Earle Haley did it in the attempted reboot a few years ago, and that was not so great. So, yes, I believe they want Robert Englund to do this. Now, will Robert Englund do this? I'm going to put that one at just below half. We're going to go 40% likelihood that that would be the case, because Robert Englund has said recently that he has moved on from the character. He wants a new generation to play the role. He wants somebody else to fill the shoes. He actually gave Jackie Earle Haley his blessing initially, because he liked the actor, and Jackie Earle Haley is an amazing actor. He said about a year ago he might have one more movie left in him, but then he said more recently that door has closed. The actor is approximately 78 years old. Somebody Wikipedia that and correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, he's old. So 40% likelihood that he would agree to do it. And now the third rumor is Johnny Depp wants cameo part. Assuming that assuming that they're going to make the movie, so that 70% likelihood that they're making the movie, yeah, I would not doubt that Johnny Depp he's just offbeat enough to want to appear briefly in something to pay homage to something he did years ago. So yeah, I 100% believe that. Yeah, there you go. Next, we're talking about Terminator. We do know that James Cameron wants to make more movies, and he's currently making a bunch of Avatar movies, but this rumor says that James Cameron wants to make another Terminator movie. This time he wants to kind of retread ground that McG covered in Salvation. So it will be a Terminator movie set in the future in the war that sends a Terminator back to kill a young John Connor. So, Does he want to do this? I'm sure he wants to do this. Is it going to happen? Probably not, because he's got so much other stuff on his slate with the Avatar movies that he might be like 90 years old before he has free enough time to do this, unless he can find a way to do it between Avatar movies, which is not super likely. So likelihood that this is going to come to fruition, I don't know if it's something that necessarily he wants, but if it is, we're going to assume that it's something he wants to do. Likelihood that we're going to see it, like 25% likelihood that this is a thing, that considering the source, considering all that other information, the age of the director and so on and so forth, I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. There is a possibility, but not a huge possibility. So our next rumor is Alien. In a similar vein, Ridley Scott wants to continue making Alien movies. Now, Ridley Scott himself is 84. So this is going to be really interesting. He also has quite a few things on his plate, but apparently he wants to make a new Alien movie that is not part of the sequel movies, or part of the prequel movies rather, but part of a new trilogy that is just in the Xenomorph universe. And also attached to this rumor is that he wants to be the guy directing, not just writing and producing, but also directing all three movies. We do know that Ridley Scott does want to make more movies. We do know that he has talked about other Alien movies that he has kicking around inside his head. So this seems pretty likely as far as him wanting to make the movies. As far as him directing, I think that kind of becomes more of a legality issue and a logistics issue. But as far as him getting the movies made, I'm going to say that's probably about 75% likely that we'll at least see the first of the trilogy. I don't know that we would see the whole trilogy, but we would at least see one more Alien movie with Ridley Scott somewhere behind the scenes. Then we're talking about Deadpool. I told you it was a long one. Then we're talking about Deadpool. The new rumor is that the actual reveal of Deadpool in the MCU is going to be in the Multiverse of Madness. This is not the first time we've heard this rumor. This is a new source that is saying this rumor. Kind of gave it a little bit of a different vocabulary, but that's going to increase our likelihood on this one. We're going up to, I'm going to say we're at about 70% likely that we will see Deadpool in a movie that is not Deadpool 3 before Deadpool 3 happens. And then our final rumor, there we go. We've finally come to the end. Our final rumor has to do with Justice League, the Snyderverse Justice League. Not the Snyder Cut, not the Justice League 1, but The Rock reportedly wants to be part of Justice League 2. Now, we have heard Snyder say that there is no current plan to make any Justice League 2 or Justice League 3 movies, but he also hasn't ruled it out. So there is still a possibility this could happen. So the actual rumor here is that The Rock wants to be part of the second movie. 90%. If the second movie happens, they will put The Rock in it. A, he wants to. B, he's Black Adam. Just everything says yes. Now, the 10% discrepancy there is because I don't know if it will actually get made. So there's that. But that's all the rumors.